and gentlemen, here's your host, Bruce Martin.
Oh, yeah. It's that time of year again, ladies and gentlemen, where we review a Rocky movie. Rocky 4 is the movie review tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Huh? Come on. How cool is that? You got, what is this, Rocky right here, and then you got Apollo Creed right there. How cool is that? Let me put it up for you guys. Look at that. Look at that. Yes. Hey, you know, Apollo, you always say, kid, we're not like that anymore. You know? Got stuck to me. Let me just put this back on the wall. Well, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I hope everybody's doing all right. We're doing good over here. All right. Hang it up, hang it up, hang it up. There you go. And you got a little flat going on here. There you go. Hide it. Nope, we got to hang that. We got to put that part back right now. Give me a second. There you go. There you go. All right. Welcome to tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry for that little thing over there. But yeah, that's the Rocky 4 belt. Well, the Rocky belt in general. As you can see, I got the shirt on for the movie review tonight, Rocky. Oh, yeah, it's going to be a good review. Look forward to that. Also, tonight, ladies and gentlemen, oh, man, this guy is great. The host of the Honeymooners podcast, the host of the Conte and Kenny show, the comedian himself, the one and only, Joe Conte. Also tonight, ladies and gentlemen, a great music performance, music video by At the Movies. They are returning to the program again. I think this is like their third or fourth appearance. It's going to be pretty cool. I love these guys. These guys are really good. And you're going to look forward to that No Easy Way Out cover tonight by them. Made famous by Robert Tepper. Unbelievable. Hope you guys are doing good. Being safe out there. I'm doing pretty good myself. I'm back doing the recording from the, the computer again. So if it zooms in and out, if it goes dark again like that, my apologies. It's just I sound better on this one, okay? Compared to last week's show, you could barely hear me. I got notifications. I got people telling me, I can't hear you, mother, you get the joke. I'm going to try not to move too much because every time I move, it goes in and out. So I'm just going to stare at you like this. Speaking of staring, well, I just got off of Instagram a little while ago, and my God, I'll never make this mistake again. Well, maybe I will, because the Instagram, the way they have things nowadays, everything's all over the place. I'm going to check my private messages on Instagram, and all of a sudden, somebody goes live. I accidentally click on the live. It takes over the whole screen. One thing leads to another. There's this guy sitting in a chair by himself, smoking a cigarette. I'm like, oh, jeez, I can't exit out. I can't leave because I'm the only one there. I noticed because it says only one viewer, and that's me. So I feel bad. The guy notices I'm there. He says, hey, Official Bruce, what's going on? I'm like, I don't want to be here. I'm like, I'm doing good, and you? He's like, oh, man, just sitting here smoking a cigarette. And I'm like, I can see that. That's like somebody on private messaging me. Hi, I'm Jermaine. I know, I see that on your nameplate. It says Jermaine. But you have to tell me your name. Of course, it's the way it is nowadays. So one thing leads to another. I'm there for like 10, 15 minutes. I texted my girl. I said, hey, jump on this live feed for me so I can get off because I don't want to be here. She said no. So she was useless. I was like, come on, help me out for God's sake. I was there for like 10, 15 minutes. The guy didn't do nothing. He was just looking at the screen. I'm over there like, I'm trying to get out. If I get out, he's going to notice, and it's kind of rude. But he only had like one viewer. I think he only had like 2 followers. Oh, jeez. That's what happened before. Yeah. I was able to get off and start the show. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say real quick, rest in peace to Willie Garson. He played Stanley on Sex and the City. Also, he was the landlord, one of the supers on NYPD Blue. He had a lot of scenes with Jimmy Smith. But yeah, he was a really good character, and he just finished filming, and just like that, the new Sex and the City show that's coming out. So he finished all his scenes, but he unfortunately passed away of cancer at the age of 57. Very young, very young. This cancer is no joke. Oh man, I'm telling you, it's no joke. And also rest in peace to Gabby Petito. They finally confirmed that her remains were found in the desert. Now, I'm going to talk more about that a little later in the monologue. It's not going to be a long monologue because we have a long interview with Joe Conte, so look forward to that. It's going to be a great conversation. But I want to talk about something else. Something else is really bothering me. This really bothers me, irritates my skin. Let me tell you why. You see these YouTubers and stuff like that. They're always doing these things for the views and stuff like that, right? So I go on Instagram, I see one of the YouTubers, and she said, I just uploaded a new video. I spilled wine on my carpet. So keep in mind, she spilled the wine on the carpet, right? She's rich. She must be. She's a YouTuber, one of those higher up YouTubers. She spills wine on the carpet. One thing leads to another. She decides to take out her phone, take a picture, and then go live and be like, look, people, I spilled wine. As she's doing this, as she's taking her picture or doing her vlogs or whatever the hell they call it nowadays, the freaking wine is soaking into the carpet. It's destroying the carpet materials. But these people don't see that. No, they got to get the view. Oh, I dropped some wine. Let me get on Instagram. Let me get on YouTube. Let me tell the world that I spilled wine on the carpet. It irritates me, people. I hate that. Okay? I hate fake shit. I really do. I hate it. It's like those reels on Instagram. These people doing fake shit all the time. I mean, I'm one of those people, but still. But yeah, that's just something I wanted to talk about. It kind of irritates me, Also, I want to let you guys know, if you guys missed the latest episode of the Home of Halloween's You Run podcast, me, my pal Scott, the host of the show, and my other pal, Mark, my bad, I had a brain fart there. Me, Scott, and Mark review Sharknado. Yes, one of the worst movies ever. So if you guys are interested in going to check that out, I would appreciate it. You can check it out on Spotify. Or you can go to Home of Halloween's Instagram account. Pretty cool stuff. Shout out to Mark, MW Horror Reviews, and Scott, Home of Halloween. So yes, look forward to that. And more funny stuff coming out from Scott. So check that out on his account. Also, I want to give a shout out to one of the really badass Instagram accounts. He's a good friend. His name is Joey Abuscato. Let me tell you something. He's on Instagram at JoeyAbs7788. And let me tell you something. This guy, no doubt about it, is one of the coolest guys. I mean, he does fitness and everything like that. He pretty much is one of the most intense professional trainers out there. I mean, this guy is the real deal. If you go to his account, I really want you guys to check him out because he's the real deal. The way he does these, I doubt I can do it here. Okay, you won't be able to see it. He punches the freaking concrete. Let me see if I can do it here. No, I can't do it. I'm gonna break the wall. But I did tell him I was going to do the 10 pounds to the ground. He does it to the ground too, like fucking concrete. He punches the ground with his bare fist. It's insane. This guy is the real deal. The integrity and everything like this that this guy has, the intelligence, the way he thinks is just it's really cool. But I just want to give him a shout out. Joey Ab 7788 on Instagram. That's Joey Aboscato. And my God, check out his account. The workouts that he does, the things that he put his clients through is insane, but it's really freaking cool. So I just wanted to shout him out, let him know that that we're thinking about him and we hope him continued success in the fitness world. But yeah, man, a lot of stuff going on right now. Did you guys see the trailer for the new Sopranos? Well, not the trailer. The movie's out in London, believe it or not. But the trailer, still one of the latest trailers, just came out in the States, United States. But the movie just got released in London. Pretty positive reviews so far. I'm not going to spoil anything for my Sopranos family. But yes, look forward to that because it's going to be coming out this coming October 1st. So about a week away. And we're going to be getting the release of the new Sopranos, The Many Saints of Newark. It's going to be released over here, of course. The main character, James Gandolfini's son, Michael Gandolfini, plays Tony Soprano, a young Tony Soprano in the movie. And you see how he rises up the ranks in this film. So good review so far coming out of London. And we'll see what happens when it hits theaters over here in the United States. It's also going to be streaming online too. So look forward to that. Also in other news, The Lost Boys is getting a remake. Nothing to be happy about. Okay, nobody wants to see The Lost Boys come back. I mean, unless Kiefer Sutherland's going to come back and play the vampire and stuff like that. I mean, come on. Nobody wants to see a remake. And they got these same kids. I mean, hold on a second. I want to talk about this for a second. Ghostbusters, Lost Boys, and all these other shit, Stranger Things. Every kid is the same in every movie. They got the same fucked up hairdo. I mean, they look like geeks. I mean, holy shit. I mean, this is why we miss the 80s and 90s so much because they're always putting these, because he can act. I don't care about that. No, I don't care. These kids they're no good for these movies. And it's always the same kids. Stranger Things, Ghostbusters, Lost Boys, you name it. It's always the same stuff. Enough already. That's my opinion. And let's end this monologue with, of course, Gabby Petito. They found her remains. It was confirmed. They're still looking for her fiance, Brian Laundrie. He's still nowhere to be found. As of this recording, he's nowhere to be found. We'll see what happens when this goes up. But like I said, they found the remains. They confirmed it. They're going to take a couple weeks before they can confirm. They know it's a homicide, but the official cause of death is going to take a few weeks. Now, the real story. Why isn't the news talking about the other victims of spousal abuse or whatever you want to call it? A lot of thousands of women go missing all the time. And it's usually due to the man. The man murders the husband, the boyfriend, you name it. They murder, or just a one-time date, one-night stand, whatever you want to call it. They always go missing and they get murdered. And then, the news coverage doesn't really pick it up. Usually the Black, Asian, Chinese, Puerto Rican, Dominican, you name it. Indians. It's just uncalled for, but they focus all their attention on the white woman. And a lot of people are afraid to bring this up, but it's true. It's actually true. And Gabby Petito, has been getting nationwide coverage. And, we understand. It's horrible what happened to her. There's no doubt about it. I feel bad. But please start promoting, start talking about other people that are also going through the same thing. There's so many cases that are open that need to be closed, that need to be discussed. So I just want to spread awareness that there is other cases out there, other stories that haven't been told yet. And if it's going to take a little show like this or some other shows to bring up the fact that the news coverage is pretty much just giving it the white woman syndrome, pretty much. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, is a white woman, let's report her missing. Just like we do every other white woman in America. But what about the black women that go missing, the Chinese women, the Asian women, the Puerto Rican women, the Dominican women? Okay, you name it. There's so many people that go missing. It's about time that we start noticing them as well. But rest in peace to Gabby Petito. And I don't know where the hell the husband is or the fiance, but we'll see what happens. Ladies and gentlemen, great show for you tonight. Coming up next, great movie review of Rocky IV. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back with that. Also, Joe Conte, comedian Joe Conte is on the show. Also, a music performance by At the Movies. And we'll be right back. So don't go anywhere, chap. Because if you do, I'll light you up. I can never do this. I can never light it up. Anyways, we'll be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bar.
Welcome back to tonight, ladies and gentlemen. And as you can see, I turned off the light in the back because lately I've been doing this show and the light pretty much shines too much into the camera and ruins the quality of the space. But yes, Rocky IV, ladies and gentlemen, the movie review tonight. Not going to be a long review, but I'm going to get to a few things. One of the greatest boxing movies to come out of the 80s. There's no question about it. A lot of people will say Part 3 is the greatest movie, or even Part 1. And I'm not going to argue because those movies are as good as they can be. But Rocky IV, to me, is just one of the greatest films. Even though it's a short film, only an hour and a half, hour and 30 minutes. I feel like it did it justice. I feel like a lot of scenes were rushed, but at the same time, I think, everything played out pretty well in the film. Starring Sylvester Stallone as Rocky Balboa, Dolph Lundgren as Ivan Drago, Talia Shire as Adrian Balboa, Burt Young as Paulie, and of course, Tony Burton as Duke. Ladies and gentlemen, a great list of characters. Carl Weathers as Apollo Creed. You can't get better than a group like that. I mean, of course, this is the movie where the famous Apollo Creed dies. He gets killed off in the movie. And one thing leads to another. Sorry, I got an itch on my nose. I apologize. One thing leads to another. And, Apollo Creed dies in this film by the hands of Ivan Drago, the Soviet Union destroyer that is coming from Russia to the United States to destroy anybody in his path. Of course, Stallone was supposed to get the first match, but Apollo Creed wanted it. He convinced Stallone, I need this match. It's for me. It was like a personal thing. And he took up the fight. They had that little scene, you remember in the movie, where Stallone's talking with Apollo Creed. Balboa's talking to Creed in the house. And Creed's like, you only think that way, Stallion, but this is what we need to do. Something like that. I don't know. And then Stallone's like, you don't want to believe this anymore, Apollo, but that ain't us anymore up there. We're like regular people now, That's kind of like what he said, okay? I don't know the dialogue, okay? I forgot the dialogue, but it's something like that. And then, the movie pretty much goes from there. And what really disappoints me about this film is the rating that Rotten Tomatoes gave it, and that's 40%. Okay, are you freaking kidding me? That's like a slap to the face of all the people that worked on this film. 40%, really? Maybe because it was a short film, maybe because it was rushed. I don't know, but come on. Are you kidding me? This was just the training montages by itself should have brought this rating up to at least 65 to 70%. You got great acting in this movie, like Stallone and Adrian, Talia Shire. When she decides to come to Russia to visit Stallone, and she's like, "I missed you," and he's like, "I missed you too." It was a nice moment. One thing leads to another. Apollo dies. Stallone gets the big fight. He goes to Russia. He trains, and he gets to the position he needs to be in to fight this guy. It is one of the biggest fights in the Rocky saga. And I'm telling you right now, one of the biggest fights in any boxing movie, ladies and gentlemen. Ivan Drago, Sylvester Stallone. Oh, my God. Believe it or not, in the making of this film, the filming of this great movie, Stallone and Ivan Drago were going over their scenes. And Stallone told him, Dolph Lundgren, hey, I want you to really hit me, because I'm going to really hit you. I want this to be as real as it can be. We're going to go over the scenes, go over the boxing and everything like that, every scene. But I want you to really hit me. One scene, one moment during filming, Dolph Lundgren hit him so hard in the chest alone, really hard, right in the heart side. And one thing led to another. Later that night, Stallone was okay in the daytime. Later that night, he had trouble breathing. He couldn't breathe. So his wife at the time, Bridget Nielsen, actually, he married her 4 months later. They divorced 2 years later after that. Yeah, that didn't work out. One thing led to another. He goes to the freaking home. He goes home, and then he's having trouble breathing. This is a true story. I actually teared up when I read this because I'm a huge Stallone fan. So hearing this really bothered me. So he couldn't breathe. They took him to the hospital, rushed him to the hospital. Literally, ladies and gentlemen, this guy almost died. His heart was pushed back so far against his backbone that it stopped him from breathing. He couldn't breathe. He couldn't get no oxygen going through. And the heart was pumping up. It was actually bloating up. So, luckily he got to the hospital on time and they treated it. And then he was released and he continued filming I think it was a couple weeks or something like that later. And everything was okay. But my God, Stallone almost died during the filming of this movie. And I believe it or not, Stallone said after Rocky III was released, I'm not going to do another Rocky movie. I'm not going to do another Rocky movie. This is it. The Rocky III. He just wanted to do the trilogy. But, money talks. And then, of course, he came back. He had worries about coming back because he was getting older. He didn't want to keep doing this boxing thing. Little did he know he was going to do 3 or 4 or 5 different movies later down the road of Rocky, playing Rocky Balboa, including Creed, the movie. So he did this movie, and then, of course, he wanted it to be real. So, he came out of the hospital. He got back into shape, was healthy, and finished the film. But that's not all. Carl Weathers also had a problem with the aggressiveness of Ivan Drago, a.k.a. Dolph Lundgren. One thing led to another. Dolph Lundgren was hitting him so hard throughout the scenes where they were practicing the hits. Carl Weathers walked off the set saying, I told you not to hit me that hard. Yet he kept doing it. So Carl Weathers left the set. One thing led to another. It took 4 days to get him back. He pretty much quit. Stallone convinced him to come back. He said, hey, you're on a contract here. Okay, so, this and that, bada bing, bada boom. He comes back. They finish the filming. Everything works out. Dolph Lundgren agreed to calm down, not hit as hard, because the guy was a freaking beast. He was trained by Arnold Schwarzenegger, by the way. So that might have been one of the reasons why he was so freaking strong and his punches were deadly, almost killed both guys. And imagine the pain that Carl Weathers were going through during the filming of this, knowing that he's going to die in the movie. I mean, for God's sake, give the guy a life jacket. I mean, you're talking about crazy stuff there. But this movie, ladies and gentlemen, Stallone gave it a 7 out of 10. I'm giving it an 8 out of 10 because it's just a great film. To me, one of the greatest Rocky movies of all time. There's no doubt about it. Even Clubber Lang, Mr. T from Part 3, was rumored to come back in this movie. In the earlier script, they had him penciled in, but then they changed up the script and he didn't come back. But there was a rumor that he was going to come back for this movie. There was actually a rumor he was going to come back for the latest Creed movie, but we'll see what happens. It could always happen. It could still happen. We'll see how that works out. But ladies and gentlemen, Rocky IV, you can't go wrong with that. Such a great finale, such a great fight at the end of the movie. You guys want to learn any more stuff about this movie, you go check it out online. This was actually, believe it or not, one more thing, the last film Stallone directed himself until Rocky Balboa in 2006. How cool is that? And Stallone went on to direct other films, of course. But yeah, you can't get better than that. Rocky, ladies and gentlemen, Rocky IV, 1985. And did I mention that the film only cost $28 million and it grossed over $300 million at the box office? That by itself should have brought the rating a little higher. I mean, holy shit, 40%. Okay, I'm not going to go back there again. But go see the movie. It's really good. You guys are going to enjoy it. Thanks for tuning in for Movie Night Review. Coming up next, ladies and gentlemen, the great, the funny. This guy is talented. Comedian Joe Conte is on the program. You're going to enjoy it, so don't go anywhere. We have a great discussion about numerous topics. And then after that, ladies and gentlemen, at the movies, performing No Easy Way Out, made famous by the great Robert Tepper. I hope to have him on the show one day. Oh, I hope to have him on the show. We'll be right back.
Welcome, fellow raccoons and members of the Women's Auxiliary. What's happening, all you hurricanes, Bensonhurst bombers, and all you Dr. Seiferts of the world? You are listening to the Honeymooners podcast with me, Joe Conte, and my pal, Louis Fats.
Yes, I did, Cramden. You got away with some kind of fluke. But before I believe that malarkey, you gotta prove it to me.
The only comedy podcast all about the greatest show of all time, Joe Fensterblom. We record in the non-productive studios at 328 Chauncey Street in Bensonhurst, Brooklyn. Subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. And if you're on iTunes, give us a 5-star rating and leave a positive review. The home base is non-productive.com/honeymooners if you just want to listen, or if you want to buy some t-shirts. Yeah. Yep. Like our Honeymooners podcast Facebook page and follow us on Twitter. And if you want to leave a voicemail, call 240-442-2635. Or you can email us at
bangzoom1956@gmail.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to tonight. And boy, do we have a great guest tonight. I'm telling you, he's a good friend of mine, the host of the Conte and Kenny show. Also, the Honeymooners podcast. This guy has a lot of stuff going on. Ladies and gentlemen, comedian Joe Conte.
What's up, Bruce?
What's up, buddy?
Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Oh, man. It's been a while, that I've been trying to get you on the show. I appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule, because I know you're busy. You got a lot of stuff going on. So I do appreciate this. Let's just get right to it. Pretty much, like, you got the Conte and Kenny show, the Honeymooners podcast. You're one hell of a busy man. You got your stand-up comedy things going on. So talk to me. How's that going? Like, all the busy schedule.
Well, first of all, I just got to tell you, Bruce, when I first, we never really met because you're all the way out in Texas or whatever. But I have to say, when I would see you on Facebook and we would chat, I'm like, and then when I used your a voiceover for one of our Honeymooners podcast bits, I have to say, it's like you look like a rock star, but you got the voice of an enforcer. You know what I mean? like you should be playing guitar, but meanwhile you're probably finding people that owe certain men money, and maybe hitting sides of beef in like a freezer, like our boy Rocky on your shirt. It's like, if you have this voice that just says, who do you owe money to? And I need the money now, but you got to look like, hey, I'm going to play an E minor for you. It's so strange, And then, of course, we have the Honeymooners thing that we're both big fans of. And, so it's like we have that connection. Yes, of course. The greatest show of all time, the Honeymooners.
There's no doubt about it. I mean, that is a part-time job of mine. No, I'm just kidding. The punching the meat part.
Yes.
But man, I mean, when I first came across you many years ago, this is a true story. I want to talk about it here. It inspired me to do something similar, which was a podcast, because I've been on Facebook with you for about a few years now. Yeah. And when I decided to do this show, it was the Conte and Kenny show that started it for me.
Really?
Then it was the Honeymooners really picked it up for me, because I started this last September. So the Honeymooners really threw it in there. I was like, wow, if these guys can do this, I got to do something. I was thinking about doing the podcast, but I was like, I want to do video. I want to see, what I can do with the video. And then, like I said, it was an inspiration. You guys definitely.
Wow, I did not know that. That is definitely cool. And I like your, the idea of that you do like almost like a one-on-one type of thing, interview, hang type of thing.
Yeah.
And I have to say, your post where you play little clips, and then it's like it'll be a clip of a show, and it'll be me if I was arguing with my dad about Cheese Whiz or whatever it is you do. And so they're quick, they're entertaining,
Yeah.
good little quick things to do. Just to listen when you're trying to be creative. It could be something quick, it could be something in depth. But I like the stuff that you're doing, and I need some help with that kind of stuff when it comes to technical stuff. I have to say.
No, I appreciate that. Believe it or not, I every clip that I post, when I put myself there, and or my dad or my wife, those are true things. True things that actually happen. But I find them in the Honeymooners or King of Queens or whatever you name it, and I'm like, I can't really do it with her because it already passed. So let me exaggerate and just
exaggerate. Yeah, it's great, and you're using something that people will see and watch. So it's a great grabber, because they're like, oh, they're seeing the Honeymooners, they're seeing Everybody Loves Raymond or whatever. So they're gonna watch, and then you get to be, do your thing, and you put your little mark on it. So it's definitely cool.
And in a way, those clips, because I get a lot of feedback from people telling me, hey, that made me laugh or whatever. And that's the point. That's the goal. Like at the end of the day, it's like we're in some shitty times right now, and that. And why not give somebody something to laugh about just for a few minutes?
It sounds corny, but
yeah.
Listen, I've been doing comedy for like 19, 20 years, and besides the idea that it's when I can actually make some money doing it, and it's nice to get the accolades where people say, hey, you were great. But there is something very pleasurable to know that you made people laugh. It sounds corny, no. I know, but there's something true to it. It makes you feel good knowing that you made somebody else feel good. It's almost selfish. It's almost a selfish thing because you're like, oh, you feel good? Well, now I feel good. So it's almost like even though you're doing it for other people, you're still in turn doing it for yourself. So I understand why,
That's perfectly said. If anybody's going to say it like that, that's perfectly said. I appreciate that. Like I said, I've been following you for a while. So I noticed that you did some comedy for many years. I mean, you post some clips on Facebook and, whether it's Instagram and Twitter and, from like 10 years ago and this and that. I'm like, wow, man, I wish I was at that event because the little clips that you post from the YouTube channel, I'm like, I laugh my ass off. I'm literally laughing my ass off because it's funny shit. Like it's stuff that you don't hear today because the cancel culture and all that bullshit. And I'm not for that. I'm for.
I wish I had something to get canceled. I'll be honest. If I had something to get canceled, I'd be a little happier. Even if they canceled it, I don't have anything to cancel right now. So
let them try, right? Because let me tell you something. You got a fan base out there, and the real supporters are always going to stick with you. That's the bottom line.
That's what I think people don't understand about, and this is what bothers me about cancel culture. I think nobody gets mad at the companies that kowtow to the few people that say something, right? It's like if your wife cheated on you and you only got mad at the guy that she cheated on you with, you have to be mad at your wife too. So they call out somebody because they told the joke 20 years ago, and a company, a big conglomerate decides, oh, we're going to just cancel. We don't want a problem. They're just as much to blame because listen, there have been snowflakes. The term snowflakes, they've been around since the beginning of time. The only difference now is every snowflake has this, and they all have a thing that they can right away. If they want something to cry about, they can go and hashtag it. So that's why we have to be more aware. Listen, there's a difference between somebody being an asshole and a dick and somebody just trying to entertain somebody. And we've lost that. Now we just look at somebody and we hear what they said, or we read what they said, and you go, oh, that guy needs to go away. It's like, why don't you take 3 seconds to just look and maybe say, hey, you know what? He wasn't at a Klans meeting screaming stuff. He was making a joke, or she was making a joke, or they were trying to be funny. There's a difference. So sorry, I'm pontificating. I apologize.
No. Go right ahead. Because like you said, nowadays, like people are forgetting the idea of comedy and the stance behind comedy and the reason for comedy. And for example, when a comedian goes on stage, and I've been to a lot of comedy shows, they're there to entertain the crowd. whether they're drunk or not. They're there to entertain the crowd. And comedy is comedy. You know, he's a comedian for a reason. He gets paid to tell jokes. Don Rickles, one of the greatest of all time. I love the guy.
Yes.
You know, and then somebody I see post online, if Don Rickles was here today, he would be canceled. I'm like, the hell he would be, because he will let you guys know you're a bunch of snowflake. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
You can't.
And I think, and I really do think that most of the time, there really isn't. It's almost like anybody that got canceled or whatever term you want to use, they got ousted for something. If you notice, you wait, they come back. Yeah. They always come back, because most of the time they really didn't do anything. The people that are really like, I got to tell you, I love the whole Karen thing. I love when they videotape some white bitch, and I like, it's so funny. I love it. And I love it because you know what? People are getting called out for being assholes. And I like that. But when you're trying to be funny or you're trying to entertain somebody, and you know what it is, man, it's never what you say. It's how you say it and where it's coming from. Mm-hmm. And there was a Supreme Court justice years ago that said, look, I can't define pornography, but I know it when I see it. It's the same thing with this. I know when somebody's trying to be funny and when somebody is just trying to destroy somebody or just trying to hurt somebody. Yep. And I can't define it, but I know it when I see it. You can tell the difference. And that's the problem. But I think eventually it's going to stop. I believe that. I believe eventually the people that are all making the big stink, eventually it's going to come back to them, because nobody's perfect. And eventually those people are going to be the ones, you know, it's like the guy who runs around calling everybody out because everybody's cheating on their spouses. Well, you know what? That guy's cheating on his wife too. And somebody's going to rat him out, and he's going to be like, all right, now that's enough. We can't do this anymore. Exactly. So hopefully that'll be the day. And we can get back to just being cool to each other and recognizing that not everything is just about trying to just, you know, ruin somebody's career for something stupid, you know?
I'm telling you, man. And I see that you have a drink there. I have one too.
Salud. I got a little bit. I got a little tea with a little something in it, you know, a little bit.
I got a little something myself.
Now I have to ask you, how did you go from Brooklyn to Texas?
I love that question.
And where in Texas do you live?
El Paso.
Okay, so you're way down. You're almost on the border, right? That's as far south pretty much in Texas you can go.
And I stay where I'm at. I don't go anywhere near the border or nothing like that. But yeah, I mean, long story short, I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. So I'm an old school New Yorker. I still represent New York all over my social media. You know that. I came here 14 years ago in 2008 because of the wife. You know, she lived here. I met her on MySpace. And then one thing.
No shit. That's so cool. Friggin' MySpace.
Yeah, I messaged her, but then she didn't message me back for 2 months.
Well, because she was smart. That's why.
That and I also had a woman.
Oh, okay.
So she said, I guess she was drunk one night. And she's like, I'm going to reply to this guy 2 months later. And she does. And then
now she's got this mook living with her in Texas.
And then 2 months later, I come out here and I like it. I bring her back. I pay for her ticket. I say, come back to New York with me. I give her the feel. She's like, I got to go back. 2 weeks later, I decide to come back with her. I left my job, the family, everything. It was quick. It was like, even my boss was like, what are you doing? You know, I'm about to make you pretty much like a made man at this store, which I used to work at. You know,
yeah. Store. Okay, yeah. Sure. Yeah.
Well,
sure.
I made the
yeah. Made man in a store. Okay.
It was a liquor store.
Yeah, it was a liquor store. Yeah.
So you know, and then we've been together ever since. And
hey, you know what? Sometimes there's no explaining it. You know, sometimes you just know. Like we were just saying, sometimes you can't define it. You just knew, hey, you know what? I want to be with this woman. And you did something insane, but look what it ended up. It ended up that you made a great decision. Not for her, probably a horrible thing for her that she's got to be with you now for this long. She's got this mook in that. I mean, dude, you must stick out like a sore thumb in Texas. Like people must hear you miles away coming. Like, what is that coming down? I can hear it. It's like hearing music blasting out of a car from like a mile down the street, hearing your voice in Texas. It's got to be insane.
I can't even whisper at the super. They know who I am. They're like, oh,
Of course they do. There's people in Oklahoma who know who you are. Oh my God, that is so funny, dude.
But speaking of wives, believe it or not, I would like to ask you how you met your wife, if you don't mind bringing that up.
It's interesting. My wife, I met my wife. She used to date a friend of mine who was a comic also, and we met. We used to have poker games, and I met her a couple of times, and it was just very nice, just what's going on, nothing really. Then they broke up, and then a couple of years later, my one friend who's a comic, who's really good friends with her, she's a girl too, she's a girl comic, she thought that we would be a good couple, right? So me and her were doing a show together, and my wife was there with her. And after the show, my friend Sharon came to me and said, hey, my friend thinks you're cute. I was like, oh, okay. So I sent her a message. Dude, I find out she was lying to me. She never told her that she thought I was cute. She just tried to set us up. And she kept telling my wife, why don't you go out with Joe? My wife's like, no, I'm not going out with that guy. No, I don't want to. She kept saying no. And then we ended up getting together. And, but it's like she knew. My friend knew. And then she ended up, we for my wedding, we had my friend who was a professional wrestler marry us. And then she did a second ceremony where she did like this hand fasting thing. So, so my wife, basically we got together because we were both lied to. She told me that she thought she was cute, and she told her that I'm a good guy and then she should date me. So, and that's how I ended up being with my wife.
Based off of a lie. That's pretty
based
bad.
Off the two lies. Yeah, exactly.
Oh man, well, cheers to that, man. Cheers to that.
Salud.
Besides the comedy stuff, you've been doing this for what, 20 something years?
Oh yeah, almost 20 years. I did my first time on stage back in like 1999 was like the first time I ever did stand up. And then once I started doing it a lot, and I don't know, it took me like 10 years until I really started to feel comfortable. And, but yeah, now it's just it's something I can't imagine not doing, and the pandemic, the one thing the pandemic taught me is that, I realized that I need to do this. The only reason I probably didn't have a mental breakdown, because I went like 4 months without going on stage, was that nobody else was working either. So I didn't feel bad, you know? But yeah, it's something that I know I can't not do it. If I go like 2 weeks without performing, I start to get depressed, and you start to get down. But it's something that I feel very lucky that I found something that I would do for free. And believe me, I've done for free a lot, but it's like I'm very lucky that I found something that I love to do, that when you get paid, it's like the bonus part. Like when you do your job, like when we do our job, our regular job, we do it to get paid.
Yeah.
I'm lucky because if I get paid when I do comedy, it's like the bonus.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I didn't just have sex with a girl. I had a threesome. There was an extra chick in there, So it's I'm very lucky in that regard, and and I always, like when people ask me, hey, I would think about doing comedy, I never tell them not to. I always say, if that's what you want to do, you should do it. I'm not one of these people that are like, don't want you to do it because you take away from me. It's like, no, if you want to do comedy, you should do it. You should try it. And if you love it, you'll know. I tell people, I said, the first time, even if you bomb and even if you get one laugh, you're going to know. Even if you were scared out of your mind, you're going to know that, wow, I want to do this a lot. And then you'll just go and do it.
Speaking of the comedy, I mean, I've always wanted to do something like that. You know, I mean, the thing about me, and I try to explain this to a lot of people, is that I don't care what reaction I get. I really don't. I don't know why my mind's set up like that. Generally, I do not care if I get booed, cheered. I don't care if they give me 10 thumbs down on my YouTube channel and then 1 thumbs up. I'm like, hey, I got a response. You know what I mean? That's all I care about.
That's well, first of all, what I think you're feeling is that as long as you're getting a response, at least they're listening.
Yeah.
And if they're listening, then maybe in the future, I might be able to get them. You know what I mean? Like you might be able to, hey, you know what? You might not like this, but if you keep listening, you might like this. And actually, you're kind of polar opposite of most people. Like I always say, you know, and this is, so many comics do this. You could have a room full of 100 people and 99 of them are laughing and having a good time. And there's one person like this, just staring at you. What we do is we subconsciously, now we focus on that person. Like, really, motherfucker, you're not laughing?
Yeah.
And now you focus on them. And it's not the healthiest thing to do, because then you're taking away from the other people. You know, I always say it's like in regular life. If you just bought that Rocky shirt, right, Bruce?
Yeah.
And you were walking down the street, 99 people say, that's a beautiful shirt. I love that shirt. One person says, dude, that shirt makes you look like an idiot. You know what you're going to think about? You're going to think about that one guy who said that. And it's human nature. It's human nature. But you don't do that. You just say, as long as I get a reaction, I got something. And that's a good, healthy way of looking at it, man. It's a good attitude to have. It's healthy. Because this can be a very unhealthy thing for our brain, getting into entertainment. You could be really, you know, listen, a lot of people end up being addicts who are comedians, you know, because there's a lot of that, you know, you get a lot of dopamine. You get a lot of that, you know, you get enthralled when you're up there. And I listen, I don't have many good things to say about myself. I always have terrible things to say about myself. But I will say, when you are doing well, and you have a room full of people, like, you know, hundreds of people that are loving you, it is such an amazing high. Yeah. And I'm not a big drug guy, you know, I drink a little bit. I smoke a little weed. I've never done anything else, but it is such an amazing high. Now I understand why comics end up being alcoholics, because they're sitting in bars, and then when the show's over, the high's gone. And you want to try to recapture that. So sometimes you drink it a little bit. And now you're doing a little Coke. You're doing it. So it very easily can happen. But it is a very, very amazing feeling to have that.
I could just imagine. For me, I would like to do that one day. Give it a try. Do stand up. You know, if it's 50 people and this and that. Because I do it in the beginning of my show. But you know, I have that fake audience. I say, okay, I think that was funny. There you go. Let me add that in. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. It's a start. It gets me comfortable. You know, then when I get out there, like I said, you know, they give me cheers, they give me booze. It is what it is. But like I said, I'm gonna say it right here on the air. You have given me the confidence to go move forward with that career move, stand up. Whether I make it or not, or whatever happens, I'm gonna come back to you and be like, that's the guy right there.
Oh, good. So they're going to blame me then. Is that what it is?
Yeah. You'll be the one everybody comes to. Like, what did you do there? Let's change the subject right now, and let's talk a little bit about the Conte and Kenny show. I would like to know how that started, if you don't mind bringing that up.
Well, put it to I'll tell you one thing. We haven't done a show since January because my partner had back surgery. And he's been all banged up but I'll tell you this much. We started that show and the term podcast hadn't been invented yet when we started that. Wow. We started doing it. It was called internet radio back in 2005. And I always wanted to do radio, even when I was a kid. you know, and then I was a big Stern fan and a big Opie and Anthony fan. And I ended up going to this studio in Rockland County, New York, because my friend named Otto Peterson, who was he was a legendary ventriloquist comedian named Otto and George, and he passed away back in 2014. But I went with him. I used to go with him to the Opie and Anthony studio all the time, and then we went to this studio where he was doing an internet radio show, and I went there and I was like, this is fun. And the guy was like, yeah, you could do it for like very little money. It was like a little studio. And then we just started doing a show, and we just had so much fun doing it. It cost us a couple of bucks each week to do it. So we've been doing that for a long time, and it's a lot of fun. And then 2 years ago, we started doing the Honeymooners podcast.
Yeah. And
you know, two different shows, obviously. You know, one is a hang with a bunch of animals, you know, and we say terrible things, and you know, but it's kind of like radio was in the 90s, you know. Like, I have a theory that like that kind of radio is dead. Opie and Anthony, Howard Stern, that radio is dead. And it's dead because everything now, we are so judgmental with every single thing, not only with like cancel culture, but now every single thing has been made to be political now. So now, like, people talk about getting Opie and Anthony together. It would never happen, because now the audience, when they're listening to the show, they're probably just sitting there going, oh, Anthony, he's just a Nazi, and Opie's is liberal, blah, blah, blah. And nobody would be able to listen just to listen. We're all now programmed to go, oh, is that guy a Trump fan? Is that guy a liberal? Is that guy this? Is this girl that? So now there's so many podcasts, and now it's like you could just do a podcast about a TV show that's 65 years old, like we do. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so it was interesting to do. And, you know, there's so many shows out there. You have a thing for everything, you know, whether it's just a hangout with you and like a bullshitting, like an interview show, or a specific type of show. But it's a weird time right now. And, you know, entertainment has taken a hit, obviously, you know, and hopefully we'll be able to come out of this better than we were at least before this.
Only the strong ones are going to come out of this. That's for sure. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a reason why the cream rises to the top, you know? Yeah. They say that. Listen, these dumb phrases that we always say, there's a reason why they exist, because the shit's true, you know? Yeah.
And let's talk about your partner in crime, Louis Fats. I mean, Louis that guy Fats is just perfect on the show with you. Perfect combination.
Yes, on the Honeymooners podcast. This is my pal Louis. We work together for I've been working at a company now for like 24 years. I work there part-time. I have my benefits there. I work in the morning, and then I'm done for the afternoon. So I got my afternoons free, and then I do my comedy at night. And we've known each other for a long time. And he retired, and we would get together once in a while, grab some coffee, you know, two Italians getting a little coffee at a diner, you know, and we would just like make jokes about the Honeymooners and this and that. And I said, Louis, why don't we should do a podcast about the Honeymooners? And he's like, oh, I don't know. And Louis he's never been behind a microphone. Like, he's never did karaoke. He never did anything. And we started out, and I was kind of like the leader. I was like, you know, listen, just follow me.
Yeah.
You know, I'm the one behind the mic. And I got to tell you, he's like a star. Yeah. Like, it's so great to watch him. He's evolved. We're up to like our 76th episode. And from the first time he was on to now, he has evolved so much that now it's easy. I come up with a couple topics. He'll come up with a couple topics, and I just let him run with it. And it's just, and he's got the greatest name for a podcast, you know, even though it's short for Fataruso. It would be Louis Fats. It's a great name for like a podcast name.
It's like the ultimate Italian Mobster, Louis Fats, the bodyguard, like you were mentioning to me.
Yes, yeah. And what's great is that Louis, he's 6'3", 185 pounds. Like he did. There's no way anybody would call him Fats unless they were doing it, ironically.
Do you ever get? I mean, I know you don't care, but do you ever get the Jackie Gleason, Norton references that you guys?
Sometimes.
That's why I made that picture of you guys.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. It just works, because listen, I'm not built exactly like Jackie, but
No.
I'm a 285-pound gorilla. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and he's a tall, thin guy. So
Yeah.
those things are fantastic. And oh yeah, dude. I mean, anything to help the show. Who cares?
Yeah,
and it's like I said, it's all done in love. You know, it's like breaking balls.
I also go because he looks like he's a little taller. I can't see on the podcast because I haven't seen him stand up, but I seen him like a little taller. I was like, okay, Jackie's a little shorter. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, that thing was great.
yeah, there you go.
It was perfect. But
yeah,
the show was so much fun to do, and I have to say, the amount of guys, mostly guys, that love the show. Like, not just like, we check it out. Like, they email us. They say, oh, this was this, this and this thing. And they're so passionate about it. But it mirrors the passion we all have for the Honeymooners.
Yeah.
And I think one thing that I've realized is because of the podcast, we all watch the show now differently. We all watch it. We don't just watch it for the entertainment anymore. Now we watch it to see little things, the flubs, watching even something like when somebody's talking, when Ralph is going on a rant, watching Ed Norton just sitting there being amazing, doing nothing, and everybody tells us that. And it's like, it's so great that we were able to make that part of all of our lives now, And you guys, I include you too, because you always have funny things to say and you send us stuff. And it's like we all help each other be even more entertained by a show that we've seen every episode 500 times.
Talk about that. I mean, I think I've seen it more than that because literally I watch it every night. She loves it too, but not as much as I do. I literally watch at least 1 or 2 episodes, and I 3 episodes if I could on my little tablet. I take it to whether it's to work or home. In fact, I got it right here. And if you think I'm kidding, I turn it on and it's already on.
The credits are already on for the end. There you go. Proof right there, people. Bruce is not bullshitting you, all right?
And there it goes on the floor. But the Honeymooners, I mean, like I said, I watched this since I was a kid with my parents. They've been long gone, but I continue the legacy that they started for me, Yeah.
Isn't that great? It's almost like you're it's like you're carrying the torch that they handed to you.
Yeah.
And you know what? And in turn, we're, when you put up something on your Facebook post or whatever, it's like we're handing it off to other people.
Yeah.
And even if it's just now, like, it's not even just the fact that we've all seen the show hundreds or thousands of times. And like Louis always says, because of the way we now watch the show and we listen to the podcast, it's like now we get to see something that we maybe never noticed before. Exactly. And imagine that you've seen something 1,000 times and all of a sudden you see something, you're like, holy shit, I never noticed that. It's like, it's like a.
And that's what your podcast does. It brings out the little flubs or this and that. I'm like, wait, I didn't notice this. So I go back and I'm like, holy shit. And like now, the super.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Yes.
He made that flub.
When he made the little snort. Mr. Johnson. Yes.
That was hilarious. I was like looking at that. I was like, oh, you can actually play it back. I never got that. I never caught on to it.
No, none of us did. And that's what makes it so much fun. And I'm very proud of it. Like I actually listen and I'm like, because I'm very critical of myself. Trust me, dude. It does not take a lot for me to say something negative about myself. All right. It doesn't take much, but I sit there and go, this is a pretty good show. And I like it. And I like when we got an email from an 18-year-old kid from Italy who listens to the show. And they don't even, and he's a Honeymooners fan, like the show, and only watches it on YouTube because it's not on in Italy.
Yeah.
And when he sent us the email, he was like, I love this because nobody else that I know watches the show.
Yeah.
And now it's like, I get to it's almost like we're all hanging out together in a room, watching an episode or talking about a scene. And it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it never gets tiring, man. No matter how many times you've seen it. A lot of people are not appreciating the lost episodes.
That's what I'm and Louis is saying the same thing. He's like, what we're going to end up doing is going to start to maybe having fun with a scene from the lost episodes. Yeah. Because look, some of them, you know, what's great about the lost episodes is, especially the early ones, even if you didn't think they're that great compared to obviously the 39, but it's like you're in a time capsule and you're in a time where you know what the future is going to be. Like watching the characters and knowing how the characters end up being. So it's like seeing a baby, but you know what the baby's going to look like when it's 18. And that's how it is with the lost episode. You could watch it and go, yeah, you know what? It's still raw, but you can see how the characters are developed. Yeah. And then they end up being, you know, the characters, you know, to me, the three main characters are the three greatest characters in sitcom, you know, and Joyce Randolph did a really nice job as Trixie, obviously, but she wasn't really meant to be a big thing, you know.
Because she's the last remaining star alive.
Yeah, can you imagine? Yeah, she's the last one.
That's insane. Imagine getting her on your show.
I know. I bet that's the thing. I'm so terrible at like pushing and trying to get things. I'll never go and ask because that's just not that. I'm just terrible at that.
Oh man, let's just give a freaking, how do you say, an applause to the Honeymooners not the podcast, the groups on Facebook. I mean, how cool.
Oh, the Raccoon Lodge. Oh, and the Honeymooners Lodge. They're beautiful. It really is, man. You get people who all love the same thing.
Yeah.
And whether it's just quoting a line or coming up with a different scenario, making a video with them and then putting different names in like you do.
Yeah.
It's like this big goofy family, you know, and it's so much fun. And because they keep politics out of it. It's great. It's great.
I don't mean to gloat, and we're gonna end this soon, but gloat. What the hell is a gloat? I don't mean to gloat, but actually, one woman from the Honeymooners group, one of the Honeymooners groups, I can't remember which one. She private messaged me saying that she was having severe depression. She thought about taking her life, and she says, "My post, no joke. I wouldn't say this because I'm gonna share this in the Honeymooners group." And she said that my post made her laugh, and that it gave her like a sense of, okay, there's more to this crazy thing, you know, crazy life that she's going through. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Like I was private messaging her, and I was like,
that's heavy, dude. That's a heavy thing right there.
Yeah.
And
so I was like,
if that in itself doesn't make you, you know, gloat. I mean, if there's not a reason to fucking gloat, there's one right there, you know? I mean, yay, I make 10 people laugh in a bar. Who gives a shit? Like, that's amazing. You know what I mean? So there's a reason to gloat right there. That's cool, man.
Okay, before we go to the music video, are you planning on sticking around for that?
Yeah, of course.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you. 3 things people don't know about Joe Conte. 3 things.
3 things. Well, unless you know the show, the Conte Kenny show. Well, actually, nobody would know this. I have a major fear of birds. Birds scare the shit out of me. Yeah. That's one. Oh, wow. I've never been asked this question before. Oh my God. I I can weep at an AT&T commercial at this point in my life. I've become such a softie at 52 that I find myself just getting emotional for no friggin' reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know. I guess I'm not sure. That's an interesting question. Nobody's ever given you shit enough about me to ask me a question about that.
No, but the bird thing is interesting because the first guest, the host of Home of Halloween, Scott, he said he has a fear of what is it? Oh my God, guinea pigs.
Really?
Yeah. So you saying birds? This is becoming a new thing.
Yeah. These weird, odd fears. Yeah, absolutely. That is just bizarre.
Yeah, birds and guinea pigs. That's
guinea pigs.
Oh my! Who's next to come up with an animal?
Yeah, really. Hey, I'm afraid of sea lions. You know.
Oh man, we're gonna go straight to the music video right now. I just want to thank you, but please stick around because I'm gonna talk to you real quick before we end the interview. Ladies and gentlemen, great music video coming up by At the Movies. Of course, you know the movie review of the night is Rocky IV, so we're going to definitely kick it in high gear right now with At the Movies, No Easy Way Out cover. Take it away.
We're not indestructible. Baby, better get that straight. I think it's unbelievable how you give into the hands of fate. Some things are worth fighting for. Some feelings never die. I'm not asking for another chance. I just want to know why. There's no easy way out. There's no shortcut home. There's no easy way out. Giving in can't be wrong. I don't wanna pacify you. I don't wanna drag you down. But I'm feeling like a prisoner. Like a stranger in a no-name town. I see all the angry faces, afraid that could be you and me. Talking about what might have been. I'm thinking about what I used to be. There's no easy way out. There's no shortcut home. There's no easy way out. Giving in can't be wrong. Baby, we can share this skin. We can know how we feel inside. Instead of going down an endless road, not knowing if we're dead or alive. Oh, some things are worth fighting for. Some feelings never die. I'm not asking for another chance. I just wanna know why.
That was cool. But see, I have a question. Is that I of course remember the song from the movie, obviously. Is that the original band?
No, the original guy was Robert Tepper.
These guys, that's a cover of
That's
it?
that's a cover band at the movies. They do a cover of a lot of songs.
Dude, it sounds exactly like the original. He sounds exactly like them.
Yeah.
The music, it was a little bit harder, which I like. I'm a heavy metal guy myself. But it was fantastic. I didn't realize. I thought it was the original band, and the way they were recording, almost like they did it because it was a pandemic and they had to record by themselves.
Yeah,
I didn't realize. I'm like, wow, the band is called At the Movies. I never heard of them.
Yeah, exactly.
But now I remember Tepper. I remember the name during the credits for the song. That's right. That was awesome, dude. They are great.
And that's a guy I'm trying to get on the show, Robert Tepper. He did No Easy Way Out, Angel of the City, a lot of 80s hits. He's on Instagram, so I got my fingers crossed. Hopefully I could get him. But yeah, I mean, At the Movies, thank you guys for joining the show. That was just an amazing performance. You guys have a music video, and you guys keep knocking it out of the park. And if you guys want any information, their links are going to be below. All right, so go check them out. Trust me, they're on Instagram, YouTube, you name it. But man, Joe, what a show. I couldn't say, I appreciate this so much. I couldn't thank you enough.
Dude, thank you, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. It's actually fun to actually talk to you, not face to face, but computer to computer, where we actually not just bullshitting back and forth online, So it was very cool to actually meet you. And I had so much fun doing the show.
I appreciate that. And one day we're definitely going to get a beer together. But we'll probably do it, on virtual reality for the time being.
Yeah, exactly.
But yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is Joe Conte, the co-host of the Conte and Kenny Show, the host of the Honeymooners podcast. You can catch his comedy. Follow him on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. Maybe he has a TikTok.
No, not yet. No, I got to figure out this TikTok thing because everybody seems to put out short videos and I see comics getting a lot of juice from it. So I figured that maybe I'll just do videos of me and my corgi. People love my corgi. So figured, and my corgi's name is Gleason. I named him Gleason after the great one.
That is perfect. That is a perfect name right there. I think that shows the amount of fan in you for the Honeymooners. You know what I mean? Like, come on.
Well, it's either that or the insanity of my Honeymooners love. And dude, just real quick, just to give you an idea, I married a redhead, and my regular job, I drive a vehicle, my regular job. And my wife doesn't like the Honeymooners at all. She doesn't like it at all. I don't even know why I married this woman. You know what I mean?
Do you ever hit her with those one-liners?
No, I just hit her. That's all. I just hit her. Yeah, no. No, I do lines to her all the time. And when she doesn't understand it, she goes, yeah, it must be a Honeymooners thing. I'm like, yes, of course it is. So it's just funny. And my wife is just like Alice, where she told me the other night, because I do bad jokes to her all the time. She actually said to me, somebody should take away your comedy card.
Oh, man.
But thank you, man. Thank you so much for having me.
I want to give a shout out to, what is it, Carol, Brenda? No, I'm joking. A shout out to her and you on a continued future of happiness and health, man. I'm telling you right now.
You too, my friend. Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming on. Cheers. Salud.
Cheers.
There's no easy way out. There's no shortcut home.
Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bar.
We're back. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for tuning in to a great edition of Tonight with Bruce Martin. If you can, go follow Joe Conte on his social media accounts, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, you name it, Twitter. This guy's all over the place. And also follow the podcast, Honeymooners Podcast, on Spotify, you name it. And the Joe Conte Kenny Show. Go check them out as well. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank Joe Conte for coming on the program. I do appreciate it. Also, thanks to At the Movies. You guys nailed it again. You guys are the real deal. Great cover for the great Robert Tepper. And the movie review, I mean, wow, that was pretty cool. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit that notification bar or that little button up there. And check me out on Instagram at official Bruce Martin 34 and Facebook. Got two Facebooks. There's Facebook Bruce Martin and another Facebook Bruce Martin. Come on over and enjoy the ride. Twitter at official Bruce 25 and my YouTube Tonight with Bruce Martin. Let's bring those subscriber count up. Appreciate you guys. I'll see you next week. Don't go anywhere. Oh yeah, you can go now. You can go because this show's already over. I have a brain fart again. Yeah. So we'll see you next week. Take it easy, people.